Good evening and welcome to the Finance and Advisory Board meeting. Call the meeting to order at 7:15 on April 30th. To begin the agenda, we're going to start with Ellie Sinkowitz, one of the co-chairs of the school building project, and if you can update us on to where we are on the middle high school scope.
Before I actually do that, I think I'd like to explain why there's a middle high school scope. And that is, when we were looking into replacing Pembroke, the MSBA, the Massachusetts School Building Authority, came out and took a tour of all our buildings. And after completing the tours, they said, not only do you need to replace Pembroke, but your high school is in dire needs of help. And what we think is, for the very first time in the history of the MSBA, they said to us, you do not even have to write a statement of interest. We have seen the building and we know it needs work. If you can get the town to pass a feasibility study, then, and it gets passed, we will put you into the pipeline. And so that's what we have been working on. In addition to moving the Pembroke School forward, we have been working jointly with the architect and our project manager to do a needs assessment of the high school. And it's done, and that's what this is about. They've come back to us and said that the high school really does have three major issues. The first one is that there are some capital repairs that just need to be handled. The second one is that we have a serious water problem. The building is leaking, and it's been leaking for so long that the interior has been damaged in addition to the outside. And as many of you may know, the NEASC, which is the New England Association for Schools, they're the accrediting board for high schools, has put Georgetown High School on warning because, and at this point now, I believe their warning status is strictly on the envelope, the building. So this feasibility study was to examine all of those issues and determine what needed to happen. And that's what I'm presenting before you, the numbers and the list of really what we feel needs to be corrected. The capital repairs, they're pretty much just going to cover the HVAC, plumbing, fire protection, electrical, data, a school-wide phone system. Some of those, or most of these repairs are going to take place when they remove the 6th grade from the 3rd floor. There are going to be a lot of rooms that get moved around, but most of these repairs will take place within those areas. Our biggest capital repair right now is the roof. The engineers have looked at it, they've studied it, and they came back and they said, look, the warranty on this roof expires. I asked Carol to double check. I can't remember if it's in 2015 or 2016. But within the next couple of years. And we're not talking about starting any of this for 2 more years. It's reached the point where it's beyond repair. The school every year is putting money into replacing or just patching these holes. But they feel at this point it's just not worth it because it's going past its warranty by the time we get to it. And so their recommendation is that it's just time to replace it. And as you can see, that's a $2 million repair. The other large repair that has to take place is to do the water mitigation. The idea is to dig out around the foundation, lay piping, and have the water drain into receptacles that they'll be installing. There'll also be some grading that takes place on the hillside to help carry the water into different places, and the foundation will be waterproofed and it will be insulated. Just those 2 repairs alone are a little over $3 million. I mean, that's a lot of money for 2 things. Though the money for the drainage improvements does include interior corrections also. There are lots of floors that have buckled. There's a lot of damage. There's a lot of damage that just can't be replaced. It has to be repaired. And then the third issue has to do with the NEASC and also a lot of SPED regulations that we need to meet. And the changes that will take place, these program renovations, will happen when the sixth grade is removed. There will be classrooms that are reassigned. A lot of our special education classes meet in rooms that are not meant to be classrooms. And that has to change. So the rooms, some of the rooms will be redesigned so that they are placed into regular classrooms with windows. And some of the interior rooms will be used more appropriately for people who don't need that type of space. Things like chorus will be given its own room, taken off of the gym, off of the stage. So, and that's just some of the things that will happen. The gym will also have some changes. NEASC has stated that they feel the gym is unsafe, that there's not really a travel area between the stands and where the kids play ball. There's not enough space, and also behind the benches. So what they're planning on doing is removing the divider that doesn't work anyways, take out the bleachers, and install new ones that go all the way down. And by doing that, they can bring the bleachers back several rows, and they will realign the basketball hoop several feet, and that will open up some room behind the benches, and that will allow for more space for pedestrians to walk through while games are still being played. So that's another big change.
So they'd redo the floor?
You know, I can't remember. The floor was just redone, but they're gonna, yes, no, I take that back. They're gonna have to, because they're gonna have to change the lines, yes. They do have to redo the lines. They're not gonna leave them.
Are you gonna lose any seating?
When I spoke to them last, they said, yes, we may lose about 30 spots because the rows are longer, but I think by going up a little more, there will be a little more standing room on the sides. Yes.
I've been out of the high school for quite a while now. I've retired, I guess, 17 years or whatever it may be. But when the addition was put on, what was the warranty from the engineering firms and the construction firms,
Because of the water issue?
for the project? Because I can't believe, excuse me, that the backside of the high school, which we're having so much problems with the drainage in the back of it, was not addressed when they originally made the
Right, when it
adjustments,
started happening.
and the roof and so on and so forth. Has anybody,
Yes.
gone into that?
This is I can only tell you the hearsay part of it because I know that the addition was done in the 90s. But from what we can see in the records, it's always leaked. And they went after the company that did it, and I guess things were fixed, but it never really was done correctly. And that actually is one of the things that MSBA was just completely irate about. They wanted to know who did it. They wanted to know why this happened. I mean, they also looked into it.
I can't believe that we allowed the construction of the addition to the middle high school with that slope coming down on the back of the hill, and the distance between the hill and the building was, I don't know, 10 feet.
I don't think
It-
that's
It was outrageous. Where else is the water supposed to go?
right. And I think part of the problem is it's not so much that it's close
And
to
I'm
the
not
hill.
an engineer.
Right, but the drainage wasn't handled properly because our engineers feel they can take care of what wasn't taken care of at the time. They said that's part of the problem. The correct drainage was not put into place.
And whose fault was that?
The people who put the addition on,
They were engineers as well.
yes.
Yeah, I don't
So now we have
understand it.
better engineers than we had
I,
before?
I believe so, yes.
Well, not only that, I think the state has looked at
Yes.
this as well too, because they were very upset with it.
Yes. And
So
all,
they made sure that it was gonna work as far as they were
correct.
concerned.
The state has engineers that have to go over all of the engineering plans, all the architectural plans that are put forward.
I'm just concerned that here we are talking about it, and, another question I have before I make that comment. You mentioned that there is a warranty on the roof.
No, what I meant was the longevity of the roof is retiring,
You
not a
said
warranty. Well, that's the term they use
Yeah,
for
but is
what's
it
considered
warranty
the
or-
length.
Or not a warranty?
Not a guaranteed.
But
the-
if a warranty means that you have a warranty against something,
I believe that's the wording they use with me, but what I believe they're saying is, the company has said, we think the roof will last X amount of years.
these are the ones
And
that
that's
did
what
it
they
originally?
call, you know what, I think the roof has been replaced
I don't think the
once.
roof was done in that, from my understanding, the roof was not done in
For that, I think
renovation.
it's just been
This roof is
repairs,
older than that.
yeah.
It just seems
I
to
don't
me
think
that
it's
this
under
whole thing
warranty.
has been a debacle from the beginning, and what do we have for
Absolutely.
guarantee it's not gonna be another debacle, and in 10 years, somebody else is gonna be sitting here listening to the same song and dance?
Well,
No
actually,
offense.
right, no, that's a legitimate question, and Jim was right, because the state won't allow that. They stay on top of this, and if we as a town have problems with any of the construction that's going on, we notify them, and they handle it themselves. They're our partners, they're paying for half of
You know,
this.
if they were on top of this when this construction was made,
They weren't.
why did they allow that
The high school.
non-drainage in the back of the building? I don't understand.
A lot of,
And then they.
I can only tell you the way it's
built in the
happened
middle,
now.
and they put 'em
When
all
I started
together.
on this committee, it was with what is called the older
High school
MSBA.
building.
They didn't have as strict
Added on to,
requirements.
so it's like-
They figured it out. They
Possible.
stopped giving money to towns and cities for a couple of years. They regrouped and they came back with very strict guidelines. Some of which are, they have their own engineers, their engineers go through all the plans, their architects go through all the plans. We as a town or a city have a place to go if there are problems. So hopefully that's what's gonna make the difference. I mean, our architects and our engineers know that they're being held accountable, and in fact, the state will only accept a certain amount of architects and engineers. They have to go through an application process to even be considered
So they have
by
to be
the
pre-approved.
MSBA
They have to be
before.
pre-approved, yeah, in fact, when
Correct.
we chose municipal, there was a list of 5 or 6 people that we had to pick from. And the state did pre-approve. I think what's happened is, a long time ago, 30, 40 years ago, the state just gave you money. In fact, they gave us much more money than they do now in terms of the percentage. But I think they were very hands-off. They weren't involved in the design or anything. Now they are. Now they're being much more careful with their own money here, and giving us less.
And isn't the lesson that we should have been more careful as well?
Oh, yeah. I mean, no one is happy. I want to mention something before we finish with this. We're not even finished paying off the bonds on that yet, and we're going to start paying the bonds on the new one, and no one is happy about that.
You know, what I don't understand is how could an engineer, approve,
They come in all
you know,
varieties.
approve that, and that we as a town and a building committee said, that's fine.
Well, I
I
think
can't believe that.
there wasn't enough follow-up on the town's part, I think, when there were problems. That's what I've been told. But the problem is, it's been 20
That's a
plus,
moot
you
point
know,
now.
I don't have the answers for that. I wasn't here. Yeah.
One small question is, the state's gonna give us 52% reimbursement,
Yes.
so your numbers are at
The
the bottom? They
the
should be
numbers are a
switched?
little different. No, because they only pay 8% of any site work. So
Okay.
some of the drainage they won't cover.
All right, so that's why the numbers.
That's
don't
why
make
the
sense.
number's a little different. That's correct.
But is it gonna go below 52%? Does it have a
No,
chance? But
no.
that's,
They're already committed. This is how
committed to
much
this
they're gonna
numbers.
give us, just like with the Pembroke, that's it.
okay.
I think it's important to point out, just the roof and the capital improvement for the drainage alone is a little over $3 million. And we're asking for the town to approve 3.9 million. For that $900,000, we're gonna get $3.5 million in repairs
To be
that
clear,
that building needs.
They will not be, they would not reimburse us just doing the
No.
roof and the drainage.
We have to get a new roof. The bottom line is that school needs a new roof and that water has to be fixed, no matter whether we go with the state or do it on our own. That's still $3 million that we have to repair it. We have to. Yes.
Has the school been tested for any mold since we've had water for so long?
Yes,
Is
they,
there any
they do look
remediation?
around, yes.
I
Yes.
can't imagine there's no remediation
Yeah.
that has to be done.
There's a lot, there is, but there's, in terms of the mold, they've had the air quality and everything tested. I mean, there are things, the floors are up, the ceilings, they try and stay on top of it. When they pull up the walls, you know, I don't know if there will be anything, but, I know
Well,
that
I
they
think
have
that's
tried to
a
stay on top
concern.
of that.
Remediation can get
absolutely.
extremely expensive.
There are contingencies that are built in, so if something does show up, you know, we're just like with Pembroke, you know, when
Yeah.
the soil tested poorly because of our contingencies and our backup. We've covered that. We don't have to come back to the town and say we need more money to handle
In
this.
fact, it's still under budget. You know,
Right.
Pembroke is still under budget,
Right.
even with the contingencies.
We've been very conservative in all of our decision-making, and I'd like to say that will happen with this also. But I also know now from experience, things happen. So we're confident that it's not gonna be more than this,
How much are we under budget? for Pembroke?
over $1 million.
It's yeah, it is. It's like a 1.5
Yeah, but we also haven't used our
For us.
contingencies, you
Yeah.
know,
That's what I'm saying, so on the
we have a
front
million
end
and a
where
half
we're
contingency.
where taxpayers may be expecting a certain amount of money because of Pembroke, that may be lightened
It might, yes.
off.
That
on
would be
end.
nice. I mean, there's
It
no
would be nice.
guarantee.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
we haven't.
There
We're
is a
still
building
possibility.
isn't
dealing, right, we
finished
still
yet,
have a
right.
lot of soil issues that we have to
Right.
deal with, over at Pembroke. But we won't go over what we have. But it's possible some might come back, yes.
And that's a good thing, is that
Yes,
it's
it
not gonna
is.
come back and look for more money for
No,
it.
we will not look for more money.
I don't think the guys that are the project managers. And by the way, this is something that was not available in the older constructions. These
Correct.
are people with a lot of experience. And it isn't just a bunch of people on a committee that really have no building experience. These guys have a lot of experience.
And
They've
that,
been very good, I think.
yes,
They're
and that
very
is a
knowledgeable.
change that the MSBA made. They require cities and towns
To have those
to hire a project manager. So municipal is our project manager. They are working for us on our behalf. So when they meet with the architects, they're looking at it as an eye for how is this gonna best serve the town? So they're also our go-to people if something happens.
The other question I have is looking at number 3, 2.5, for something that seems rather nebulous to me, grade reconfiguration and special education requirements. It seems like a heck of a lot of money for something that's, I don't feel I can hold on to right now and understand.
A lot of that has to do with when we pull the sixth grade out, it's going to be a domino effect. There'll be new science rooms that have to be redone. There will be some walls taken down. The whole gym is in on that. You know, there are just a lot of rooms that have to be reconfigured. But the good part about that is, when they are done, NEAS is gonna be satisfied. The special education
Let me stop you
department.
right there. Exactly, what did the special education people want us to do? That cost us $2.5 million.
We have special education rooms that had taken place in closets. They don't have windows, they're
Could you
in,
do one in a room like this?
you could, this is a great room, they'd be happy to do it. They're doing it in loading docks, in the room
No, I
next to loading
understand,
docks.
But there's gonna be space available.
There will now be space available. Right now,
So we have to create space even though there is space.
no, there is no space over at the high school. When we remove the sixth grade, that will free up other classrooms, and when we can move the classrooms around, we'll be able to spread out
There's
the,
no cheaper way to do this?
no, I wish there was. I do.
Can you see why it seems like so expensive?
Oh, absolutely.
If it doesn't seem to me that special education needs
It's
a
not
special
just the
room.
special education.
No, but it's highlighted there as a special education.
But I think it
requirement.
does. I mean, I think the fact that it is special education is that they're forcing us to have special rooms for them.
I understand, but is a room a room a room? I mean,
No,
No.
granted,
Apparently
No.
not.
Not
I
by
don't- I don't
MSBA.
know.
Because they're not in rooms, they're in storage areas.
yes, but
Well-
we're talking about the sixth grade moving out, so there will be rooms. There'll be sixth grade classrooms available.
Right.
But
And they
we're
all
only
have to be
talking-
reconfigured because they're gonna be special.
$2.5
But-
million
but
dollars
we're
worth?
I think all we can tell you is that they have sent this out. What they do is they have to decide what has to happen, how the building has to be reconfigured. And then they send this out to 2 different costing companies. They don't do it.
No, and-
They
and I-
send it out. So, I mean, it may seem like a lot of money, but whatever
It is a
has-
lot of money though, Jim.
But I mean, I know it's a lot of money, but it has been looked at by people that cost out construction.
Well, I think I can
back up,
explain
back up.
something else.
You've
There's
got
a
3 things in there. You've got
program-
NEASC, you've got grade reconfiguration and special ed.
Right.
Do you have a breakout of what?
I don't have it with me, but I can help explain how this happens. The engineers, the architects will sit down and they do a program analysis with the education department. How many rooms do you need for math, for English, for history? How many kids are gonna be in a classroom? How many special ed kids do you have? How many are here? How many there? How many lunches? They do an analysis of the entire school. Georgetown High School, middle high school, is already overcrowded. That's part of the reason we're removing the 6th grade. There are kids taking classes in places that are not classrooms. By opening up 5 classrooms, moving 6th grade, it makes a dent, but not a large enough one. By doing reconfigurations, changing some walls, a lot of creative, I was very impressed with some of the creative ideas that came up for creating new spaces.
And I
when-
don't think the grade reconfiguration is just for special ed, it's also
It's
for-
every place.
It's all over the whole school too.
And I
Yeah.
understand.
Okay,
I see the numbers.
right.
I see everything that's coming through, what the taxpayers are gonna end up on the hook for.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like every time we get hit by something, we turn the cheek and someone's hitting us on the other side.
One of the things is, my understanding is that when the school was built, there were certain regulations that were required for school buildings to be. Well, now there's a whole different group and it's changed over time. Now there's a whole new set of requirements.
And more
So-
kids. The classes
Well,
are
It's
and
kind of
bigger.
like
and I
bringing a
think
building,
that's
bringing a
really
building
what-
that's not
what it
ADA
comes down to.
compliant.
I mean, I
Once
think-
you do it, you
Right.
have to bring it,
And
and that's
again,
basically bringing
I
it to
guess
code.
I'm just voicing my concern.
Yeah. Oh,
as
it's
a
huge.
taxpayer to say,
Yes.
where does
No,
this end? We're told that this is, it's like watching Adolf Hitler. This is my final territorial demand. The next thing he's marching into Poland.
We've been taking a look at, I have with Mike as well, been taking a look at our bonding. And it turns out that, as I mentioned, that the bonds on the existing middle high school debt will be finished after the 2017, after fiscal year 2017. And that is probably the first year that this will be on the books. And after that, those bonds will go away, so that the impact of this bonding is going to be minimal.
So you meaning it'll be flat, according
Not,
to what the
not
tax
exactly,
rate is.
but it.
I don't mean to be.
No, this is wonderful. You
No,
should.
we're on TV, and this is a good, this is a good
This is
point to
not a
bring it up,
problem.
because these are questions people
Yes,
have.
yes.
Come on.
If we
Okay,
have such
there you
a huge demand for space, why didn't we put the 7th grade in the new school as well?
Well,
Or even the 8th grade for that matter?
honestly, it was money, because the town didn't want to pay that many more millions, because it would have been several $1 million
Well, it
more.
doesn't make sense. Okay, well, so we rather repair and add on
Well-
to the high school? It
Welcome
doesn't
to
make any sense to
Georgetown.
me.
But I mean, that's,
No, that-
people had to
you know
make
what?
those
Right.
decisions, and that's the decision that was made.
If you add classes.
You know, it was gonna cost money, however.
Increase the kitchen, you have to increase the
Yeah.
kitchen,
It was a
increase
lot
the
of money.
library,
Yeah.
increase so it's not
I mean,
just
that school
buy
costs
one
enough
class.
And
money.
once you get to 7th grade, you're now at a middle school level, And your gym has to be larger, you know, your classrooms have to be a different size. It was a different step. It's from an elementary school then into a middle school.
Yeah.
If you were gonna do seventh grade, then you would have to do eighth grade also, and we would have been looking at tens of millions of dollars more.
Well, 10 million as compared to how much is
No,
this
like
going to
more than
cost us
10.
with,
Which this had to be done in most of this anyway.
Yeah.
It would have
Yeah.
been more than,
But some of it
Well,
anyway, yeah.
There was,
And the other thing you don't want-
configurations done.
You
There
don't
was
wanna-
17 designs. I mean, looking at configurations as far as how the classrooms go, and
Yeah.
as far as what classes are we going to, you know, K to 3? Are we going K to? I mean, there was 17
looked at 'em all.
different.
Right.
That's
Hold it,
right.
Gary
This
has,
was really looked at.
The hospital
Do you
was
want a
long
building
time ago.
that has kindergarten
couldn't-
children in it
this is what they
and
came up
kids in
with.
middle school?
Right.
I mean, that is just probably not a good mix of.
and I'll
kids.
just say one more thing. When we did those designs, the reality is, by pulling out sixth grade and making these changes, it really did provide enough room at the high school. And that was really the other selling point. You know, we didn't gain all that much by taking seventh grade out.
So all the work have to be done at once?
No, it will be phased in.
So, from a budgetary standpoint, you know, can we do it over the course of a few years?
I believe it
Or
will be
does
done over
everything-
the course of 2 years.
Okay.
a few, yeah. Gary, you
Try
had a
and do some
question?
during the summer.
It was just to echo somewhat, some of Ed's questions. I was on the tour when the MSBA came in, and one of the problems with the special ed classes was natural lighting, because where they are, they're supposed to have natural lighting. But as you say, if they get into some of these outside classrooms, they have that. But some of the interesting things are, when they came in and they went through the science labs, which I thought I heard we're getting new ones again, okay? How long ago was it that we did that, 20 years ago?
20, almost 20, be 20 in
They
2017.
redid the science labs.
Yeah, they did.
And a woman that came through, one of them said, these science labs are terrible. She went in the old original science labs and said, these labs are great.
Yeah, she loved them.
And also, it was the
She was a
state in
science
this thing
teacher.
that we did before that said, move the sixth grade over there, or I don't know who did, and have the middle school. Now we're doing away with the middle school, it seems, and we're going back to a junior high school. Because now we're moving the sixth grade back.
We
So
didn't
it's,
do a population study. It did not
Oh,
take
I
into the
know,
fact
I
that we
understand,
were.
Phil, but you know, sometimes the state leads you down paths, or I
I
don't
agree
know who
with that.
does, and.
Oh, yeah.
and you
Well,
sit
nobody's,
there 20 years
nobody
later,
disagrees with
you're
that.
doing
We
that.
don't have enough time to debate that tonight.
I haven't seen
We're all in agreement on that
I
one.
promise I have one final question.
No, ask as many as you want, that's why I'm here.
1B, we're paying for the Cadillac of roofs, I believe, at $2.1 million.
No, that, again, that's not just the roof, that's also drainage, and there are
It says site
some,
Drainage under drainage.
no, roof drainage. It needs roof drains, and some mechanical equipment has to be replaced on the roof. So all of this was put together as the roofing fee.
What is the lifespan of this roof that's going on?
I don't know that.
Is
It's
it
a
gonna be,
lot.
is it gonna
It's usually 20 years. It's
Yes,
usually
it is
20
a lot.
years.
Is that-
roofs for about 20 years.
Yeah.
is that warranted and guaranteed?
Yes, just like anything else.
Except for the one we
But,
are
but,
replacing?
but I think you're mixing up warranty and guarantee. The warranty is, it will go for 20 years.
Sit out of the way.
The guarantee is, like with a refrigerator or anything else, sometimes they give you a guarantee for 5 years, or, you know, 100,000 miles.
Can you negotiate the best possible warranty, guarantee,
Oh,
whatever
you
you
bet.
wanna call it?
Oh, you bet. I pay taxes in this town too, trust me. All of, we have everybody's best interest at heart.
I know we all do,
Yes.
but, you know, there's a limit to what the average
I agree.
taxpayer can pay for. And, you know, obviously, it sounds terrific, and it is terrific, the state's gonna pick up 52%. But we're still left holding what, $4 million?
I can tell you this, there are zero frills in this, zero frills. This is strictly things that need to happen and pieces that need to go in with the plumbing and electrical and data. There is nothing going in here that's gonna make things cushy. This is strictly
And
bare
it's not-
bones.
It's not half-baked either.
Oh, no.
I mean,
I know.
because the fact of the matter is, we don't wanna go in and make this type of investment, then realize, 10, 15 years when I'm sorry, Reg, but when I'm much older and less able to get around than you are. And I'm saying,
I'll be out of here.
and I'm hearing somebody say, well, if they'd have done this and done that, in 2014, we wouldn't be in this mess.
You know what, we're not perfect, but I'm telling you, we're doing the best we can to make sure things like that don't happen.
I think it's, we want some checks and balances, maybe.
Absolutely.
Just
And
make
that's what
sure,
the
this person's checking this person, that person's checking that person, and then have one person check those two and make sure it's just done right. Because that's what this is about, right?
Yeah.
We're correcting problems that happen along. Nothing we can do about it right now. It has to be done. It has to be done.
Yes, I will concede that point.
I mean,
I
there's
just
no.
want to make sure the money's well spent.
Agreed.
And that we get the value for the money, and the people that come and replace us in a few years aren't hearing that their predecessors, us, should have done something different.
One of the things I think we also need to look at, Ed, is, and everyone, is that years ago they voted to have our own school district. If we don't continue to keep up our own school district at a bare minimum where it needs to be, or if we decided to go to a regional, we'd be looking at a lot more money, because regional schools cost a lot more money. Yeah, well,
Well, the problem is, there are no schools that want us anymore, no towns that would want us. So
Right.
that is really
Yeah,
off the
that's not a
table.
possibility
It's-
anymore.
but even
that-
if, but even if we had belonged to a regional,
Yes.
we would be paying so much more. I think we've gotten a pretty good bang for the buck. Trust me, I don't want to pay any more taxes. But I mean, it's just, but by the same token, we made an investment, we have to take care of our assets, and this is an asset,
Right,
yeah,
but again,
yeah.
looking at the state of the roof and
That's
the
just
physical
a
plant,
swag
that
of what
didn't
else
happen
it's
when
gonna
it was
cost.
first built.
I think it's just,
That's
I think
very
the roof is coming up to 20 years, and no matter what, the roof was, and I think
Right.
that's where we gotta be careful
But
of
you
Warren.
said it's continued to leak ever since day one, even
No, no,
after
I
the
didn't say the roof leaked ever since day one. I said they've been repairing it because it's coming up on the end of its life cycle.
No,
I'm
you
talking
said-
about
you said that-
this, no,
No,
there was,
the
a-
drain.
we have a water mitigation issue.
The water mitigation, the drainage has been a problem
Yes.
since day one, not the roof.
Right.
I don't think the roof was done in the last, I'm pretty sure it wasn't done in the last renovation. That roof has been there for longer than the 20 years.
Okay. Phil?
I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure.
I was just with the architects, and to your point, I agree with you. If we're gonna make an investment, what's this gonna get us for a return? And he said that there's two components to it. One, if we make the repair, based on the infrastructure improvements that are made, that the expectations that this building will last another 30 years. If we don't make the repairs, it'll probably be about 15 years and $100 million to replace it. So it's a big impact if this project doesn't go through. Whether we decide to do it now or whatever, it's gonna make an impact either way.
Again, I'm not disputing that it needs to be done.
Yep.
I don't want to leave anything undone where we assume something's gonna be done the right way, and it isn't.
I'm just going to your point, if we do this, what is this gonna get us,
Yes,
right? That's what the architects, and they'll say that at town meeting as well.
I think we've probably have learned our lesson on this, that going forward, that it's gonna be watched very carefully.
I'm done.
Well,
I
that's
think
that's what our
when-
project manager is for.
Right.
Phil, when you talk about the architect, excuse me, we keep talking about repairs. Are we replacing the roof or we're repairing?
Replacing.
Replace.
All right, so everything is going. We're just completely
roof.
replacing.
Yep.
Okay.
Full roof replacement, yeah.
And part of the issue is the drainage up there isn't working, so that's just
Like,
compounding it.
How we gonna put these, we're gonna take these units off the roof we're putting up there?
See, we have to talk about that.
And that's coming
We have
up on
to-
that,
yeah,
I
that's
know.
something we
That's
have to
another
talk about.
piece.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I
Thank you,
know,
Wayne.
yeah, that's a whole, we got a whole other bunch of discussion to go on that.
But
We got
anyway,
a lot more
I-
to do, so why don't we try to wrap, if we don't have a lot more,
I haven't got any
Questions?
more
The
questions.
okay,
vents.
that's fine. I don't wanna
We're gonna
cut it short,
replace the
but
roof.
I don't wanna beat a dead
What are
horse
we gonna
either.
do with the vents? We gotta take them off and then
I-
put them back
Put it on
in.
town meeting
Yeah.
floor.
Huh?
Put it
What are
on
we
town
doing?
meeting floor and let them have, it's their turn next.
That's ridiculous.
Their turn next.
Oh, yeah,
Well, I think we should,
We need
have
to
to
vote a
take a vote
recommendation.
and see
Oh,
if
we have to
recommend
vote
it.
for a okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
it's already on the
So
warrant.
you got
So,
that
yeah, it's
written
gonna-
down someplace?
Excuse me.
I don't know
Yes.
what do we, I don't know, how do you word
Has
that
the
one?
committee,
Reggie, word this one.
has the committee thought about replacing the vents
Oh,
on the
yes,
roof?
everything is included in that fee.
With the replacement of the roof?
Yes. This fee covers everything that is included in or on the roof.
Mechanical, it includes
Right, the
mechanical.
mechanical, drainage on the
Talking
roof.
about the warrant article for the 40.
I don't think it's replacing all
Yeah.
of the mechanicals on the roof.
That's
But
the,
those
Yes.
units that we have to run aren't being
Well, you
replaced
know, the
as part
units
of
that we're talking about
No.
are
The heat pumps,
relatively
right? Heat pumps are
expensive.
not part of this.
That, yeah, not
Especially
that
when
type of
you're renting a
mechanical.
No.
20
Not
And the
that
big
type of
vent
mechanical,
fans are not
right.
part of it
okay,
either.
we have to talk one at a time, or people can't understand us at home with the microphones.
At any rate,
Okay, so, but that's a good point we need to bring up. So the debt, we're looking at a pretty flat debt.
It would look a
somewhat-
reasonably flat debt. There'll be 1 year when they're both on the tax rate. And after that, the last year of the present bonds is about $245,000. And it looks like the bond for the new work would be a little over 290. So that leaves you, you know, really an increase of over $40,000 to $50,000, which is a pretty minimal impact on the tax rate.
Jim, do you have an extra copy of that?
This is very unofficial here. I just did it myself. So Jackie Cuomo would have to do the real one. But I thought that's an important point because I know you're concerned about the impact on the taxpayers, and I think what this speaks to is we think it'll be minimal.
Right, and and let's keep in mind, we are nowhere near our limit for debt. I mean, we can go miles and miles, and I think that's something that this board has done since I've been on it, now 14 years or whatever. We've been very conservative with what we
Our
take
debt
out.
has
but
come down
Our
significantly
debt has come
from
down,
what
and we
it
haven't,
was 10
right,
years ago.
and we haven't
Yeah.
really added to it.
Yeah.
Because we knew some of these things were coming down the pipe, and we just didn't want to sit there and just all of a sudden start borrowing for all these things, and then all of a sudden, boom, there's a big school.
well, again, I just wanna, redirect the question, okay? If we're gonna put a new roof onto the middle school, okay, and we're gonna, put these vents back up on the roof, right? Are we gonna wait until the roof is resurfaced before that?
I'm sure there is some coordination that has to take place, and I will obviously make sure that's happening. But I think I think Carol has talked to the architect, right? I mean, this is something the school has known about.
That's something that we want to make sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, Phil, do you have any insight on that?
You know, I asked Mike, why wouldn't we roll that into the bond? And he said that those units that are up there that are part of another warrant article that we were gonna replace were not in the scope, and the MSBA did not believe they were in the scope of the
Okay.
actual project itself. Cause I said, why don't I just put another 200,000 in the bond, it would be a minimal, I mean, every penny counts, instead of us coming up with $200,000 of free cash or other alternatives right now. And Mike said it couldn't be, so I don't think the MSBA is part of that scope, but I don't know the question of the timing, whether they wanna replace them now before a new roof goes up,
Well.
or if they have to wait, or should they wait? I think that's a Carolyn architect question, I can't answer.
And we have to discuss that article again tonight anyway.
Yeah,
Right,
but
we're
I
going to be
think-
talking about that.
I think if you have any brains, you'd wait until a roof is resurfaced before you put vents on.
I think they're thinking of that.
Yeah.
They just, the issue is.
Okay, that's, I quit.
No, you
Okay,
can't.
then.
quit.
Anybody else have anything else for Ellie? Okay,
Do you want to vote now, or do you
we
want
can take a vote now.
How does everybody feel? I mean, it would be good if she knew, but if you don't want to, that's fine too.
Make it a big surprise on Monday.
Yeah.
No, I don't like surprises.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to recommend approval of ATM 1402, the middle high school, repairs. What do we wanna call this? Middle high school repair, yeah, just ATM 1402, middle high school repairs, in the amount of we have to vote on the whole thing, excuse me, in the amount of $7,805,726.
So moved. Come on, Reg, you can do it.
Second.
Is there any further?
Yeah, I just have one question,
Yeah.
Cal. Now, these figures that we came up with for all this work, that was done by a cost company or whatever you said?
Yeah, they send it out to be costed. In fact, they send it to both the architect and someone else.
Our project
And
manager.
the project manager sends them out.
And then they
Okay,
take all
and
the
actual
figures.
people doing the work, do we know who they are?
No, we have to.
Oh,
go
no,
to
that's
bid.
gonna go, has to go out for bid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
this is to come up with what the debt exclusion needs to be for a price.
Right.
Yeah, Gary?
I've got some notes from going over this on I'm not sure whether they're here or the selectmen's meeting. They've got the bond payment, it's 15-year at $363,000, so.
I did 20, Gary, that's why I said, this isn't official,
Oh, you
but
did
I did 20, yeah. I don't know,
The decision won't be made
Yeah.
until we go to bond council,
Right.
what the best rates are, so.
Right, for the number of years.
Price it either way.
So when does this go out for bids?
After,
it'll go out after
Well, it's like-
Are
July
you talking for the
1st.
work?
For the work?
We'll have to go for design first, right?
Yes, they still have to firm up. At this point, they're only about 50% done. So as they get further into it,
Well, I just don't
they'll keep
want,
repricing it.
But this is 50% of the design that's done, right?
Yes,
And then after the design is done, then they'll go out for
yes.
construction.
Because we're
Okay.
not gonna start until
Well,
the
it's just
Pembroke's
that
done.
the figures are made available.
And they're firm. They won't change.
Well, I know, but then it kinda makes it easier to do the bid work. Usually bid work is,
Well,
Yeah,
they
no,
don't
I
need
the,
it.
no, that's not true, the Pembroke building came in $4 million under. You know, they're bidding,
Against other companies.
yeah. It isn't like you're going to one company.
How many bids do they get, just so?
Depends
This
on
is
what it
state
is.
law.
Is there, I mean, that's the thing, is there a minimum amount of bids?
No, there's no minimum.
Because you may be going out.
And all these companies have been pre-approved by the state also, the ones who are submitting the bids.
And I'm assuming you're probably gonna do different bids, because you're not gonna go with one company that
And
may
did-
specialize in roof, but they really are stinky in drainage.
Right.
That
There's a
type of
whole
I mean, that's,
subcontractor.
again, that's
group.
what the
Yeah.
owner's project manager
right.
there'll be
really,
a
and
general
the
and
architect
always
would.
sub-bid
And the
for it.
contractor who's hired handles that also.
Okay. All right, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Merlin? Cool. 8-0. All right, thank you.
Thank you
Thank you,
very
Mrs.
much for your
Sinkowitz.
support.
See you Monday night.
Okay.
Maybe you wanna bring cupcakes for the crowd. Go for the school, huh?
Chocolate?
Yeah, just stop passing out Hershey Kisses. All right. Chief Beardsley, do you know if our town administrator's still downstairs with,
He wasn't down, well, he wasn't in the meeting I was just at.
oh, okay.
I'll go.
Thank you very much, Phil.
I'm leaving, I'll check for it.
Okay, thanks, Ellie.
Bye, thank you.
Thanks, Ellie.
Okay, so, now for the next portion. All right, I have done up, here's the status of what we voted on, here's monies, where's it's coming, this is our summary sheet for the warrant articles. Here we are, those that are in yellow, we need to reconsider. Here is what we
I'm gonna
voted.
give you a lesson on how to line up columns. This is very nice.
All you have to do is put the.
Yeah, you just
lines
put
in.
any
I
extras, just
can
put on the table,
see
anybody wants,
that.
okay. Here is free, this is our free cash, this is when we were discussing last week with what we're gonna do, what free cash was coming out of, no, last couple of weeks ago, what Peter was doing, chapter 90, and then the deficit, these are just the numbers, the notes that I had. And Mike is gonna be bringing up the budget summary, with the whole new budget that we have to vote on. This is a summary I did up to color code,
Oh, I'm sorry.
so we can
I found
see
myself-
Yeah, yeah.
what the change
That's
is.
not on, so. Oh, this one's nice,
So
just
like
the
that's Mike
colors
now.
and everything.
I did it in colors so we can follow along.
Oh, good.
Here he is, Mr. Farrell is here.
Okay.
You must have been listening downstairs.
Really?
Mike, the AV guy's here.
That was good timing, Mike.
So the sheet you have in front of you on these, it shows, there's the budget 2015. These are the new numbers Mike has gone over, and we've moved some things around. He'll explain the details. Then the next column is voted on 419. So you can sit there and see everything in blue adds up to the blue on the bottom, and the pink goes to the pink, and the same thing with the yellow. All the yellows, just so you can see what is adding up the summary, because his sheet does not have this. And then there's the column change of how it's changed from the 19th when we vote, excuse me, the 9th when we voted on it, and what the impacts are, such as, you know, revenue has gone up 86,000, and then costs have gone up. So this, Mike will go into the detail on the ins and outs. And Mike, you have packages, new packages too, right?
Yes.
Okay. So what I've also put on here on, if you go back to the warrant summary, we have the items that we have voted on, and those in yellow we have to rethink. Because if you go on the back page, there are other issues that have come up, which Michael go over with us. Other issues that we've got, a deficit right now of 151,000 in insurance. We've worked, WC is workers' comp, right? Yeah, workers' comp of 10,000. And the high school field remediation for the arsenic before the turf field can get put on is coming in at 200,000. So we need to kind of look at what we've already voted on to see if there's anything we want to revote, because we have to balance. We have to balance this year, FY14.
I was gonna say, yeah. The insurance and the workman's comp are this year.
This fiscal year, and
This
there's not
fiscal
enough
year.
money
In
within.
this fiscal
Right,
year.
and there's not enough money within the line item transfers with special town meeting that will take care of that.
Okay.
So, here we are.
Everybody's got all the paperwork in front of them?
Let's hope so.
Mike, whatever extras are there. Did you get a warrant summary? Didn't,
The warrant
this
summary?
one, this, the one I made up, did you get one of these?
No.
Okay, there should be some extras around somewhere. Okay.
Are we gonna start with the
I don't know, I'm
Chevy
gonna
for
let-
this year, or we're gonna go with start in 15 and then go back?
Well, we have to balance FY14.
I think
have
we
to
should
do that
start
first.
there.
Okay.
Yeah. So Mike, how would you like to proceed?
Well, I was ready to go over 15. I do have special warrant articles to help balance 14.
Okay.
How do you, whichever way
It does,
you
it
want
doesn't,
to
I mean, it's just, it's, when we look at 15, in order to, the bottom line is in order to balance 14, we're going to have to probably move some of the articles we voted on for 15 out of free cash, because that's the only money we have available to balance 14 right now,
Okay.
is free cash.
Right.
And that's, it's really not rocket science. We need to come up with at least $161,000.
Well, as I mentioned to you on the phone, Sandy, I think, we can find 10,000 in line item transfers to cover that 10,000. And I may have it covered by the end of the year anyway, on further analysis of the workers' comp claims. I initially indicated that it seemed like we had a lot more teacher layoffs than in the past. But what, in reality, it turned out to be, we had a separation in the water department. And that person who left received almost $10,000 in workers' comp benefits. I'm sorry, unemployment benefits.
Okay.
And so we can't subsidize the water department. They're gonna have to, the water and light department seldom, if ever, have any layoffs or
Right.
lose people. So we really don't have a mechanism in place, but we're gonna have to develop one, because the town will have to be reimbursed for paying the unemployment claim.
Okay.
So there's two ways to do that. Either get reimbursed from the water department, or and eventually we will have to do that unless the claim is successfully appealed.
They're gonna have to pay for it.
Yeah. Yeah, one way or the other.
Yeah, they're gonna have to. But that money already came out of that money's already coming out of FY14,
Yes,
so they're gonna have to reimburse.
for the end of the year.
Are they aware of that?
Not yet, I just found out today.
Can you let that go into deficit and with the understanding that they can pay it next year? I
No,
mean, they can't do that?
No, they're gonna have to pay for it, and if they go into deficit, that gets covered by their reserves,
Okay.
so.
and the exact amount for the health insurance deficit is 151,312.
So one option we can do to pay for the insurance deficit is what we were just talking about, the heat pumps.
Well, but we have other uses for that, right? In 15 for the, or is it, when is the mitigation for the field
Right.
hitting? Is that a warrant, gonna be a warrant article in 15, or is it something that we have to take care of
Yeah.
this year?
And is it really 200?
We put that down as Article 5 on the 14th.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
So
Gary.
it's on the warrant then for 15?
Yes.
That's what town meeting was.
This is a special time meeting, I guess might as well just pass those around now, so.
It
we
was
can see.
$40,000, the 160 and the 40, what, they were 200, what the hell we?
The
how'd
two-
we-
It was between 40 and 480,000, is what the first estimates came.
No, no, no,
No,
no.
no, no,
no,
no, we're talking about the
no,
heat
no.
pumps.
They need $200,000 for these
Right.
air conditioners or whatever it was.
40
And
was
we
for
went
the
to 6,
stairway.
and that went away?
The stairway's got done, it's done.
Well, how did they get down to,
Because we didn't use the money that was gonna be used for the stairway. What isn't here is, the capital fund, right? Isn't that where that money came from for the stairway, from the capital fund?
Yes, did.
Oh, what am I doing?
No, well, we took that out.
Yeah, I know, that's why the heat pumps only have 160 out of free cash, because we took 40.
they were getting
We
40
took
from
that 40
someplace
from the
else.
stairway, from the capital fund, right?
Yes.
Now,
Short, I guess.
Is that what we were doing? We were taking
yeah,
40
we
from the
took
okay,
40
so I
from the
didn't.
capital fund.
All right, so I didn't
Now.
put that in.
Now, let me bring something else up. That this committee in its wisdom voted against the fence so that there is $50,000 in the capital fund sitting there.
No.
Can we move things around again and use that? Because we have $139,000 in free cash. We can use 100 of that against the insurance.
Right, well, originally we had the capital fund of, if everybody can look up, if you want, look up on the screen behind. Originally we had, that's the amount of the capital fund, 215, okay? Everything that's coming out of it right now, which is the car replacement for 35, the radar units for 10, the exhaust system for 20, and the one-ton truck for 64, and then the 40 for the heat pumps,
Right.
brings you down, and I apologize, on your sheets, I forgot to add that in. It comes down, it leaves us a balance of 45,998,
Okay.
which is what the 50, because this was $4,000 more than what we had in capital fund, the fence, so.
So we had taken that into account already.
We had taken that into account already. So we've got a balance, if we fund the heat pumps with, up here on the 40,000, we will have a balance in capital of 45,998. But now the question, now here's the question I have about the roof and the heat pumps, of voting in money for heat pumps that may not be necessary or have to be done before the roof. Where's the chicken, where's the egg?
I mean, to me, we should not think about doing heat pumps, because we don't know if any of them are actually need replacing right now. I mean, they're being replaced because of their age more than the fact they don't function anymore, right?
That's
That was
a
my
question for
understanding.
CPC.
No,
CIP.
I understand that when they break, they replace them.
Okay.
It's not economical, it's maintain, repair them. It's cheaper to.
And that's why I had suggested, I think offline, they need, some are not functioning now, from what I understand, but, and they cost about $5,000 a piece. If we gave them additional money in their maintenance budget, say $25,000,
Right.
they'd have enough to,
To fix the ones that are broken right
five of them
now.
died next year,
Right,
they'd have that much money extra
right.
than they do now.
And that would free up the 200,000, I would think, for the field, for the remediation.
Well, okay, so you're saying, so you're saying, Mike, 25?
That's whatever number works, but that gives them enough for 5 units to fail.
Okay, so that comes down, I don't know if I'm doing this, it's up on the screen. That comes to, for 25 for the heat pumps to do whatever. That way it comes out of capital stabilization, take this 160 out. That will leave a balance in capital stabilization of 60,998, and will give a balance in free cash of 299,710. And we have, right
I
now,
think with the configuration, when they do the configuration change on those rooms, that those heat pumps are not gonna be used at that point as much.
no,
Because I thought they were moving the rooms.
They are. They are moving those rooms. That's a very good point. That's why we shouldn't be thinking about those heat pumps right now, because it is a bit fuzzy as to what's going on
They
with
said there
them.
was a safety issue with these.
Well,
heat
that's what I was
pumps.
gonna say, agreed, but at the same time, if we don't do them, what are the consequences of,
Oh, if they're broken, they have to be fixed. I agree. I'm talking about, replacing all of them right now when, the roof is being changed and Nick's point, the rooms are being moved around.
It doesn't even make any sense until the
Yeah.
roof- the
I mean, if
roof
they're
is
broken
put
now,
in,
they need
the
them. If
new
they're broken, they
rooms
need them
are
to be fixed.
restructured,
Right.
and air
That's true.
circulation is gonna be.
yeah, as long
going
as there's no,
different places, that's ridiculous.
yeah, as long as the kids are,
Yeah.
okay, and,
Of course.
and they have what
Well,
they
really,
need.
that safety issue isn't really caused by that.
Maybe the answer is
look
coming.
at- Ta-da! Yes,
Yeah.
we did.
They're in
The
a-
vibrations must have drawn you in here.
I was gonna say, your ears burning? Oh, don't sit, come on up.
Hey.
Oh, boy.
Right up front of the class.
Welcome to the hot seat.
Yeah.
It's not the first time I've ever been in it, so I think I'll be all right.
You're a veteran here.
Come get the arrows.
You're slinging arrows at me.
No, we have some
what questions
questions.
do we have?
We have some questions. We've got some challenges right now because we have a deficit insurance. We have some things in FY14 we need to balance. And we have the field remediation of arsenic.
Yes.
Those costs that were not considered part of this. And now the question is in regards to the heat pump replacements.
Yes,
And the upcoming roof replacement if it gets voted in.
yes.
So
What questions do you have about that?
we've got to move some monies around. We can't afford everything.
Okay,
That's the bottom line.
okay.
So, can you live with 25,000 instead of doing all the heat pumps? If suggestion of 25,000 for 5,000 each, so if 5 break over the next year, to be able to.
So you're suggesting we just don't replace all of them?
Yes.
That's what you're asking
As a
about.
possibility, yeah.
I'm not the expert on that. I could certainly, whatever, if that's what I have to do, that's what I'll have to do. I'll ask Mike will have to prioritize them, because I think you asked me the last time, are they working, or somebody asked me, are they working or not working? He said some are, some aren't, and they've all outlived their useful life. I don't know what that means.
Yeah, the other question we have is this, with the roof replacement
Yes,
coming down the road, one way or the other,
right.
are we putting these units, are they on the roof that's gonna be replaced, or are they someplace else?
They're on the roof that's gonna be replaced.
And why are we doing this?
So that's why they said, well, no, they're not on, they're not part of the roof. They're units that affect the air quality, the heating and ventilation system.
When they redo the roof,
Yes.
do these units have to come back off to do the, underneath them? You understand what I'm
My
saying?
understanding is they're gonna replace the roof, and then they're gonna replace the heating, whatever these are called.
So, okay, so
So that,
that's,
so that, then the roof has all of the units are replaced as well as the roof itself.
okay, so
And I
then,
think that's why they wanted to do it all at one time, it's just all,
Oh, so you don't really need them done until
Right now.
the roof is done? I mean, you don't need the money available until the roof is done, except for the
It's
ones that are broken.
well, we definitely should fix the ones that are broken, for sure. Cause that does affect the way the air circulates in the building.
I guess the question is that, because we have funds that we have to do now, that
Right.
if we fund the heat pumps possibly in the fall,
Or
That-
even
or even next year,
Next year, yeah.
because you've gotta go through the whole process, the design and the bidding for the roof, and you probably wouldn't be doing the roof until next summer anyway, correct?
That I'm not sure about. I guess if it gets voted, yeah, we'd have to follow whatever the process would be. We probably wouldn't be
Can't
doing
imagine.
it during the year, you're right.
I can't imagine the roof would be
Yeah.
getting done
Yeah.
anytime over the winter time, right? It'll be done next summer?
Generally, I don't think we'd be working on the roof while the kids were all there, but I don't
Right,
really
it
know.
would have to be
I haven't
done-
heard that
done in
discussion, actually. Probably a summer project.
I don't think that work on that building is gonna be done until calendar 15.
You're right, I think they were phasing some of it, they were doing some of
Right,
it they
yeah.
could, but some of it they can't do until the
Kids are
students,
out.
the sixth grade leaves, right?
That's right.
Exactly.
Okay,
That
so-
summer of 15.
So there is
the
a
beginning.
there is a
Right.
phasing part to it, that is true.
Okay, so I just moved up on the screen here, folks. I've got moved 20, I reduced the heat pump to 25 coming out of capital stabilization to give the ability 5 to have something, if something breaks and it needs to get fixed. Okay? I've moved sorry, Reggie, the ladder truck, 77,000 to stab fund.
Is that,
Stabbed him.
how many more do we have?
2.
2 more. So,
But then you have another one coming.
So, Cindy, can I just understand, so what you're saying is that of the 200,000 of the heat pumps,
right.
you're saying that won't be done, but 25,000 is going to be what's left?
We're
We're
moving.
we're gonna put
That what you're saying?
25,000 out there so that if any are broken, you can fix them.
Okay, but otherwise, that project's not gonna be funded?
Yes.
Because if I reduce the heat pumps to, because before we had 40 coming out of here, Carol,
Yes, I remember
And
you had 40 and
160.
160, yeah, I remember
okay?
that,
Oops, no, 1.6, okay.
I remember that.
So, and just I'll just move this back over. So this is what we had originally.
Yeah.
And this is,
So you were short.
right, so this is what we had available for free cash, and this is what we had available for capital stabilization. Then you remove the insurance that we have to cover for FY14 and the 200 for the high school field remediation. We're short $212,000.
Yeah.
So it sounds like, if I heard, the commitment is that we would expect to fund this next year.
I would say, I thought I heard that too, that you realize it probably needs to be funded in the future.
Oh, yeah.
Not
And
too
so-
many years out.
Right, so then that's why I'm moving 77 to stab fund, sorry, Reg. The,
Where are we going? Fingerprints.
I know, this is,
25, okay.
One of my concerns is, and Carol, you don't have the information.
Right.
These heat pumps, these units or whatever, and we're doing on the roof, somebody come in here and explain to us what how's this gonna work? Because we're putting $200,000, we might not have to put $200,000 up for another year, 2 years.
that's what,
Oh, that's
I know,
right.
I know.
I mean, somebody needs to explain that, because the
Okay,
way it is
let
right
me,
now.
let me, I'll get that information for you.
Yeah, I
Especially
mean,
as
we
it
can,
pertains to
we
the new
can
roof
find
and
out
how
at the
that's gonna
next,
work.
you don't need it before town meeting, I would think, because we're
No,
not
No,
gonna
but
we'll
do
do
it.
it like in May or June.
No.
Well,
May.
we'll
We'll revisit
bring
it
this
again.
up at a building committee meeting,
Okay.
and
Okay.
Yeah,
we'll
that's
talk
a
to
good
the
idea. Yeah,
architect
let's do that.
and municipal and get a.
And have them
How's
come
that?
to one of our future meetings, so we
Yeah.
can
Sure,
actually,
sure.
so that way we can
sure
understand
those guys
fully
would come to
and then
a
Oh,
start
they'd be happy
planning.
to, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so if we move those numbers around, 77 out of the stab fund, and then we'll have, which is low, only 25,000 left over in free cash,
Well, that's all right.
and then 60,000 left over in capital stabilization.
Can I ask a question?
Mm-hmm.
The CPC put aside $250,000 for debt service principal and interest for the field. There's no way the remediation can be run into that?
I don't think so.
No, there's not enough money, there's already been things that had to be cut from the field because
Yeah, but
price is
this
coming in.
250 as it sits there now, that doesn't, that's more or less not assigned to any debt service right now, is it?
That's correct.
Do you see where I'm going, what I'm?
Yeah,
But CPC didn't
I
vote
don't
on it.
think they have a mechanism to do it in time by Monday.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just thinking that there's no way that we could kind of graft it on and,
No.
it's-
No.
because that 250 sitting there really doing nothing.
Yeah.
For the time being.
We talked about that, there wasn't enough time.
Yeah. But, and that's, and the issue is that with the high school field remediation, has to get done in order to move the turf field forward. And if we don't do the turf field, people aren't gonna want their kids playing on the high school field now that they said there's arsenic, so we have to,
What's the story with the banking and the reinforcing and that engine? What's going on with that?
The wall.
The wall.
Well, what Wayne is talking about is, in the plan on the turf field, there was because they're going into the hill further back, they needed to make sure that they could stabilize the dirt there. So there was a retaining wall built into the project. Well, apparently, as they did some borings in some other locations, it alerted them to some possible problems, being with the foundation is so close to the edge of the school to that wall. They needed to do additional borings, which the school committee approved the testing for, to make sure that that was gonna be stable in that area. If it's not stable in that area, stable enough, they have to put in a special kind of retaining wall called a cantilever wall. I know enough to be dangerous with that. I don't know more. If you asked me to explain it, I'd be hard pressed. But it's a much more expensive option, I can tell you that for sure. And it's really a deal breaker if it's a $300,000 change order. There just isn't any more, as Sandy said, the money in that project is really tight as it is. So the plan that's coming forward now, that's gonna be discussed with the school committee, is to avoid that problem and to move the wall in and have it be a 5 to 7 foot wall. Not go as deeply into the hill and potentially move the field further back toward the fence at the end. So there's a little repositioning that's going on right now that, will make Concom happy, I think, around the fence area, because they've got some concerns about, the mitigation of that whole area and not having any, open space. So right now, Wayne, the plan is to move that wall, so it's not a problem.
Okay. But we still have to take care of the arsenic for $200,000.
That's part of this, yeah.
yeah.
Now, how
And that's
far
why
is
we're trying-
that
that's why I'm
wall
trying to
you're
move monies
talking
around.
about in the back of the building, away from the building itself?
Well, it's kind of like at the bottom of the hill, Reg.
I
you
know,
Yeah.
I know the area, but I mean, is it from here to the wall?
No, it's farther than that.
Twice the distance?
I think it is from the school. I think it's probably 4 times the distance. It's down at the bottom of the hill. It's down at that, where the hill comes down?
Yeah.
It's right there on that, right in front of that hill. Not far from the, little stand, the little hot dog stand they have there.
Okay, all right.
So but it's gotta hold the hill up. And they're kinda concerned about the stability of that. If it's this will bring it closer to the field.
Okay. Any other questions for Carol? Okay.
Well, that was not hard.
Don't challenge us.
You had me nervous there
Should
for
I
a
pull the
minute.
arrows out now?
We got
Before I walk out of the room, that's what.
We got 200,000, you know, we can find in here.
It's too late to add that 200 to the bond, or use the bond the money that we're getting for the bond, and just front load that, and then next year we could take 250 and put it towards that.
I don't think that, I don't
The
think,
MSBA bond?
no, you talk about
What
the
bond?
bond for
The field.
the fields and the CPC bond. I don't know I don't think you can, because this is something different than what was voted on as regards to the project.
Yeah, we can't change the
Can't change what you're doing
Can't
with the
change
money.
anything on that.
We voted on it.
past the deadline.
No, I think he's talking about the bond that we're taking out for the field.
Right, but that amount has been set already.
Right, but it's
But what I was
basically,
wondering is that if you could, it's basically like a cash flow bond, right? In order to get things done in the field over a period of time. And what I was wondering, is it possible to you can't do anything without getting the field remediation anyway. Is it possible that you could take the 200 and use it as part of the cash flow because it's the same project? And then when it comes around to next year, we've already got the money to more or less pay it back?
We had talked about this in our meeting, Mike, and never say never. It's probably worth a conversation. We have a few days before Monday, but I can tell you, Harry, trying to change the language in any of the CPC articles.
the CPC article's already passed.
Yeah, but if that language is specific or not specific, is it open enough that we could actually do that? So
Well,
we'll
what
check it.
it would be, because we always say, in relative to the project, but that bond was passed last year.
Yeah, but is the bond, does the
It's
the
part of the
bond
project, so
specifically
the money-
exclude something like this?
No, it's part of the project, but then we're gonna be short money. We won't have enough money to
We
finish
wouldn't
the
be able to
project.
kind of get to the point where we could use this money that's sitting there now when we're able to? Because when we initially did it in the CPC, we anticipated there may be a time when that money was necessary for this project. And this seems to me to be the time.
Yeah, that money can be used for anything related to the project. But what happens when we get near the end, we're short $200,000?
And that money may be needed like this, by the end of this calendar year, and that would have to be, that money that you've got holding on to CPC probably wouldn't get voted on until next town meeting.
Well, that's what I was trying to figure out, the timing, because if you could get by until then, in terms of the cash flow, you could get that money, that $200,000 back.
Right.
Because it's sitting there. It's not a matter of not having it there, it's a matter of when you have access to it.
Right, but it's sitting there, not specified for this project.
Well,
We can't overspend, we can spend up to what was appropriated, and you're right.
The field's gotta be done this year.
If the timing was better, we could probably do that, as long as we'd get that extra money before the project was
I was just looking
needed.
for a bridge
Yeah.
to get us there.
Yeah, if we didn't have to wait till next July to get the other
Yeah, okay.
money, we
It's just a
could.
matter of timing then.
And even, the fall would probably be too late too.
Because we'd obviously have another similar amount, at least 178,000 for next year anyway, that's already gonna be appropriated.
There's a lot of this has to do with timing, because this project's gonna be finished by the end of this calendar year.
Okay, I was just,
Summer.
again,
In the summer, by the end of the summer, yeah.
You're talking about the turf project?
Yeah.
It's probably gonna be fall.
Did you have a question?
No, that was it.
Okay.
It wasn't so much the technical, but it's if we spend that 250 or 200 on the cleanup, then we've got to find 250 to spend on the actual project, plus whatever. For the
Right.
so.
Gary, did you have a question?
That's not exactly true, because the 250 is a payment that's not due yet.
Today, but this fall it will be due.
Yeah,
We'll be
It's the
doing the
timing.
next 12
Yeah.
months.
And it has to be appropriated, yeah.
anybody else have any other questions?
Okay, so where are we coming up with this money? Free cash?
That's
Oh, yeah,
what
that's-
we're talking about, moving some and revoting on some articles.
So Sandy, is that your bottom line right now, as you have it, 25,710
That will be the bottom line in free cash.
available?
Yeah.
Well,
That's-
that's like taking it to the end zone.
Yep,
It's a bad year.
this is a bad year.
Bad deal.
But the good thing is we got 61 in capital stabilization, we got 25 in free cash. There's been years where we haven't had any free cash.
Do we have some coming back from the ambulance? Aren't we just loaning them money for a short period of time? 90-something thousand?
No, that's
Oh,
just
we-
swapping money back
we're
into
s-
That's,
stabilization.
that's just, that's
Swapping
getting
out.
paid out of stab fund,
Right.
but then it's coming back in as soon as they're,
I didn't know
we'll be
if it was
voting
coming.
that in the
I
fall.
didn't know if it was coming from free cash or?
No, that's coming out, that's gonna come out of stab fund. So, because that way, we're gonna pay for it out of stabilization so they can do it now, and then once their free cash gets certified, it will get voted in another article in fall town meeting to put it back into the stabilization fund. And I don't think we'll probably maybe lose $5 in interest, Mike, if we're lucky. I'll give you the $5.
The bank's gonna charge more fees to transfer the money back and forth than the interest you lose.
So, other ideas?
Oh, God.
It's tight. It's tight, but you know something? Thank goodness we held that free cash last year.
Yeah, we got.
Thank goodness
we
we
have it. We're
were
able to
doing
get
the
through
capital
it.
stabilization. Because that's why when people wanted to spend free cash, we said no.
Next year isn't gonna be any better.
So Sandy, so I'm clear, the Springtown meeting is 151, actually it's 312 for the health insurance, 83,100. What was that for? So that's
It's good we're
accrued
adding it.
liabilities.
So we're adding it to the reserve fund. Mike's looking at the special town meeting warrant right now.
Okay.
Yeah, that's coming out of free cash to pay for the retirements for the school and the police department.
Oh, right, yes.
And then.
Okay, so we're moving it into,
From free cash
Into
to the
the line
reserve fund
items.
for accrued
Oh,
liabilities.
wow. Oh, we have a fund for that now.
That's
That's-
it, yeah.
no, that's supposed to take place in FY15.
So we're using free
That's
cash.
FY15. We took that, we removed that from school's FY15 budget and the police FY15 budget, and we're paying for it in free cash, and that's gonna be part of the budget warrant article
In the annual town meeting?
in the annual town meeting, because it's a FY15 budget item,
Oh, okay.
so we don't need that one.
Well,
Because that amount is gonna be part of the motion for article, that's gonna be the motion for Article 3 in the annual town meeting. You have to put all the monies, it's gonna be a very long article, you and I gotta flip through, who's gonna read it? It's gonna be a long one.
Hey, put it up on the screen, say now, everybody read along with
Oh,
us.
yeah.
You know.
We last year created a special fund for that, I thought. Is that what you're talking about, Mike?
yes.
Trust fund?
No, your liabilities fund.
Yeah, I think that's the only way we can do that, Sandy.
So we're gonna move it into this fund, but this fund just stays in perpetuity?
Yes.
Okay, so this is not, I thought you were moving it for special town meeting to be spent out of FY14, because it's gonna be
Well,
spent in 15.
It can be spent anytime.
Okay, all right.
Well,
Okay,
it doesn't matter, it could go either way. It
Yeah.
could, yeah.
But we don't, but Gary's right, we don't have a warrant article for that. I was under the impression it was going under a special town meeting
Oh,
all
okay,
along.
okay.
but, we're moving from free cash to the accrued liabilities. We're not moving from free cash to reserve fund.
Well, it's a separate fund, it's not the operating budget reserve fund, it's an accrued liabilities
You don't
reserve
want it
fund,
to
which
go to the
we
reserve fund.
established.
No,
You
no,
can't
no,
use it
that's why I
in-
wanna make
in
sure.
FY15, yeah.
Okay, I just, I guess,
The
I
accrued
wish I
liability
had a
is
different
is a
name.
revolving fund, apparently. I hope.
It's a reserve fund.
It's a reserve, but it's.
But the reserve fund goes away at the end of the year. You don't want.
Well,
if we're gonna-
that's what the terminology is accrued liability reserve fund. But we adopted that last year at annual town meeting, and it's a standing reserve fund.
Do we have a line item number?
No, it just goes into the fund, and when.
But the fund doesn't the fund have a GASB number or something associated with it?
I'm sure it does.
I'm just wondering, just using that number, just to be absolutely sure that there's no question that we're moving it into that particular reserve fund. So everybody knows on town meeting floor, we're not putting it into the reserve fund.
Well, that's why
That's where
we're
I'm
saying
confused.
accrued liabilities reserve fund. You know,
So you just need to add the line item.
A line item, or call it the accrued liabilities reserve fund, because the way that I read this is to move to add it to the reserve fund for the for
The
accrued
purpose of
liabilities.
accrued liabilities?
Yeah,
Oh,
as a,
oh.
I'm reading it as going to the reserve fund to be used for accrued liabilities, not reading it as going into accrued liability reserve fund.
Well, but, yeah, I think the article reads correct, that's the way you're saying the motion reads.
yes, I'm reading the motion.
The motion says the same thing. It will be added to the reserve fund for accrued liabilities for such purpose.
It's confusing.
That's why I want to be very, very clear where this is moving
That
to.
does give the impression that it would be reserve fund, not the accrued liability reserve fund, which is a
Oh,
completely
yeah.
separate.
Yes.
Right.
Do you see what I'm saying, Mike?
Yeah,
right.
I
Okay.
can see where
Yeah.
that'd be confusing. I'll
Yeah.
have legal.
Okay, so that's, well, we can leave the motion can, I mean, the motion can change. The motion's the only thing that has to change. You can leave
Yes.
the article the
Yeah,
same.
the
So now-
article's fine. We're
Okay.
just
Add it
transferring money from somewhere.
Right, so added to the accrued liabilities reserve fund for such purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Put the line item in there, 'cause that will help.
We don't need somebody coming back and saying, why did you do this, blah, blah.
It would be very clear with the line item in there, that's the name of the actual.
Time to cross the Ts and dot the Is.
Okay, then, and then 25,000 for the
Technologies.
technology assessment and $200,000 for the field mitigation. Those are the,
Snow and ice. What's snow and ice?
Snow and ice.
91?
No, that's
No, that's the-
91, that's 91 we're
for the-
moving.
For the
okay,
fire
snow and
department.
ice,
Is it? Oh, no,
yeah,
highway.
that's gotta be, what we will do, what we've done in the past, we just have a spreadsheet with the line items, and snow and ice goes in article number 1. It's for purposes of supplementing the FY14 budget.
Okay,
So,
because that's
The-
budget as opposed to, these are all different things?
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
The road, because these are all going, these are not going into operating budget, they're going into different things that can be
yes.
spent outside of FY14. Does everybody understand that? These special town meeting articles. The first one, the adjustment to the operating budget, and you're going to include in Article 1 here, Mike, on special town meeting, the 250,000 for snow and ice?
Well, normally what we do is you have the line item from the budget, and
Oh, that's right.
The
Oh,
amount-
okay. Yes. You'll have,
that is
there'll be a list
there,
of
and-
budget
yeah.
line items and all of the money that's going into them.
Right, so that's what I'm saying, so this motion isn't just 151,
No.
312.
No,
No.
it's 400,000, basically.
Okay, so is that the only,
Okay.
and you're gonna have other items moving around?
No, that's the only other one,
So we're gonna have 151 plus the 250.
yes.
What about the 10?
Well, that's, I believe we can
You wanna do that at year end?
take it out of a line item transfer,
Oh, then we can do that, you mean?
yes.
At the year,
Oh,
at the
oh,
end
oh,
of the
oh,
year.
okay,
So
sure.
we're just moving, okay. So it'll be a total of 401, 312. That'll be moving from free cash. Is everybody following along?
That's the 250,000 for the snow and ice.
And 151 for insurance.
151 for the front. What was the next item down after the 151?
That's 200 high school field.
That's the field
200.
mitigation.
That's a separate one, that's the Article 5. Okay,
Yes.
gotcha. All right.
So this is, so let's see, this is gonna be,
Article 5, yes.
this one, let's just follow along. This is STM 14-01. Wrong line. That's gonna go there, and that's gonna be here. Oops. I'll send this all out to everybody. So that's there, okay? STM 14-02 are these two. STM 4-03. Overlay is just, I don't have overlay on here.
What?
I don't have the overlay on here, because the overlay was just moving. I didn't put it as part of, because it's not part of, it's not part of free cash calculations.
Right, right.
It's moving from one place to another.
This is gonna be end of year. And this will be STM 14-05,
Okay.
okay?
Yep.
Everybody following?
Yep.
So snow and ice for 250. Right. This is snow and ice, oh crap. So snow and ice for 250, and then the insurance for the 150 minute. Yeah, we have it as 1,
12.
3, 2, okay. Okay, so that's those two. Then the retirements that are going into the special fund. Then the 25,000 for the technology assessment. 91 is not showing on here, it doesn't need to, and then the 200,000 for the high school field remediation. Leaves us with a balance of free cash at 25,390. I'll move all these things up in here tonight and send that off. 25,398 and stabilization of 60,998. This, just so you know, the staff fund says negative 777 because I didn't have the current balance of the staff fund. Do you have that with you, Mike, at all, or not?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Maybe I do.
Oh, if you don't, it's not a big deal. We know there's 1.2
1.1 million.
1.1?
So, we need to
Minimum.
vote on the special town meeting articles 1 through 5.
Yep.
We need to revote the the truck payment
Yep.
out of the stabilization.
Yep.
What's this, what's the next thing we have to vote on?
And then we need to vote on the heat pump replacement.
We have to unvote the one for the 200?
We have to,
Yeah.
You
Rescind
got a
that
list,
vote.
you got a list of these? Or where do you wanna start?
Jim, Reggie, and I have it down.
Let me see Wednesday. Let's get going.
That's-
Let's start the vote.
All right, is everybody following along the bouncing
Getting late.
mouse? Okay. I'll entertain a motion.
Probably in the second period by now.
Oh, for God's sakes, it's not even the Bruins.
Vote's tomorrow.
Tomorrow. What's the?
Nothing.
Today's Wednesday.
No, there's 3 games on tonight. There's 3 seventh games
I was
on.
gonna say, is
Three
there
seven.
Rangers
Oh,
tonight?
the other games.
Yes, Rangers.
Yeah, so Rangers, Philly,
I would
San
say,
Jose,
I'd find something.
Oh,
Okay, I'll
okay,
entertain,
right.
I'll entertain a motion to recommend approval of STM 1401 in the amount of $401,312 from free cash.
So moved.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries 8-0. I'll entertain a motion to move $80,100 from free cash to the accrued liabilities reserve fund.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Entertain a motion to move 25,000 from free cash for an information technology assessment for the school department. I'll entertain a motion to recommend approval of STM 1403, in the amount of 25,000 to move from free cash for the information technology assessment.
So moved.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Entertain a motion to recommend approval for STM 1404 to move the sum of 91,000 from overlay surplus to be added to the road maintenance line item 14215 in the highway operating budget.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
I'll entertain a motion to recommend approval of STM 14-05 in the amount of $200,000 from free cash for soil mitigation at the Middle High School synthetic turf field project.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. You good with special town meeting, Mike?
Yes.
Okay, so, I'll entertain a motion to reconsider the vote of ATM 14-017 ladder truck payment.
So moved.
No, that's the ambulance. On this sheet here?
017 is ladder truck payment.
017 is ladder truck.
Over here it says ambulance.
It's 014.
Where are you looking?
Yeah.
07 is ambulance, 007 lane.
Yeah.
Oh, 017.
Oh, 17.
Oh, 17. Yeah.
Oh, 17.
Where are they? Oh, there it is.
Down below, yeah.
Okay.
It's after 16.
Yeah, thanks. I got you. I mean, I'm following. I like the colors.
I know, I didn't do that on
Yeah, yeah.
California. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to reconsider ATM 14-017.
So moved.
Need a second?
Second.
Oh.
Who seconded?
Maybe Joe. Oh,
Nick.
Nick did it.
He's
Nick did
saving
it.
for he's
Yeah,
saving.
you know, Reggie's
That would have hurt.
Reggie's faltering here. We need somebody else.
Okay, all those in favor of reconsidering the vote?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Entertain a motion to recommend approval of ATM 14-17 in the amount of $77,000 to be paid from stabilization fund.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion?
What a spirit I choose.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Okay, so this is a reconsideration. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to reconsider ATM 14-19, the heat pump replacement.
Oh. So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. I'll entertain a motion to recommend approval of ATM 14-19 in the amount of $25,000 to be taken from capital stabilization fund.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Pencils for this. All right, what else do we have?
That's it, I think.
That's
isn't
it?
That's it. Well, the overall budget, we voted a different budget.
Right, now we have to, all right, so now,
We have to do the new budget number.
okay, so that takes care of things in 15 and 14 for the funding and payment of 14. Okay,
Sandy, where did the 92,000 for the ambulance repair?
we don't have that, I don't have that article, because the selectmen had to put it on the warrant, so I don't have that article.
Revolving fund.
No,
No.
it's gotta come out. is that article?
Should be right next to the,
It's
Fire
not in
truck.
the draft that we had, right?
What was it? The draft that we had, it wasn't in the draft though.
No, it wasn't in the draft that I've been using, so,
The 4-2 draft, it's not in.
yeah. We've been working off of the
selectmen
4-2
were gonna
draft.
Put it in the warrant.
Yeah, they had to
Yeah.
put it in the warrant.
It must be in it because it's been posted, right?
It's already been posted.
Right, we just don't, I don't have an updated, Con-
This is the one Beverly just gave me tonight, you want me to
Oh, there you go.
Is it in there?
Yeah. You wanna
It's
take that
just-
and vote it?
okay, it's ATM 1441,
1441. And the amount of how much?
$92,000.
And this is coming from STAB fund, correct?
Yes.
Are we putting anything in the motion saying that it will be paid from revolving fund, or can we not say that?
No,
We can't say that?
no.
Okay.
We just
But
have
we
to.
know where Al lives.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, we can tell people that that's the intention, that it comes back up.
Wait. This money is coming out of the stabilization fund.
And then it's going to get
But
repaid in the
it's
fall.
supposed to be going back to the stabilization.
In the fall. Right, their money, their fund, because it's a
Revolving
revolving.
fund.
No, it's because this year is the
It's an
enterprise
enterprise,
fund.
yeah.
So their retained earnings are not gonna be certified till like August or September, because they have to go the full fiscal year. So the auditors will certify their free cash, which they have the amount in, and in the fall, we'll have an article to move the money from their retained earnings back into stabilization.
But the warrant article doesn't even mention all of this
It can't,
repayment.
it can't.
Why not?
Because this town meeting cannot bind a later town meeting. I mean, it's our intention, clearly, but you can't say that town meeting has to do that. You
right.
can't bind them, it's not legal.
All right.
Yeah,
That's
and-
all right, we just won't give the keys to the new fire department truck to the chief until we get the money back in the fall.
You got that right.
Okay.
Put a-
We have our ways.
Imagine the Board of Selectmen said the same thing.
You
Okay.
won't get a cupcake.
No cupcakes for you, that's right.
Okay, do I need to do, what is this for again? It's for the ambulance
is-
replacement? I just need the name,
Ambulance rehabilitation.
rehabilitation.
Ambulance
equipping
rehabilitation,
of a-
that's
of
kind of a
ambulance
funny
level.
name for it, actually,
Okay.
don't you think?
Rehabilitation and equipment,
And equipping.
equipping, is that a word? Okay, all right, I'll entertain a motion to recommend approval of ATM 14-41 in the amount of $92,000 to be taken from the STAB fund for the ambulance rehabilitation and equipment.
So
Equipping.
moved.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Mike, can you just make a note to forward us, or can we just download offline the new warrant? Okay, all right. Was there another article we were supposed to, that was supposed to be added on to, or did we figure out we didn't need to? The last article we have is 38. No, 39 was Harmony, and then 40 I don't have on my sheet, so
40's blank.
40's blank. Who was, what was 40? ATM 40, was that anything? We just have to look on the,
So 40 was the zoning for the citizens position?
That was 38.
it's 38.
Oh, it's
Oh, I'm going with ATMs. We go by ATM numbers.
ATMs. right,
ATMs.
We do too, but I can't see that. So
Yeah, I don't,
Maybe it's 40, not 41.
It doesn't matter, it may have gone on and come off, I just wanna make sure we're not missing.
I don't think we were missing any.
So 41 needs to become 40.
No, if it's already printed in the warrant with that as a tracking
41,
number.
That stays at
that's
41?
it. Yeah, even
Okay.
though there isn't a 40,
Right.
it's still 41.
We started doing that years ago because
actually
things are
Article-
moving.
the ambulance
So
is
we
a-
started voting on the ATM tracking number.
The ambulance is Article 17 in the warrant,
But what's the ATM number?
41,
41? Okay, so it looks like we may not have a 40.
yeah.
And that very well could be. You could have put something in and then it just got bounced back out again. Can't remember back that far,
No,
Bill?
I can't remember.
Okay. So. We've got zoning articles or whatever to vote on if we want to, but then, what we need to vote on is the general budget.
Right.
Which is the colored one.
Right.
So we'll be working off of the colored sheet, and then what Mike handed out tonight, the budget summary, which is dated 4/30/2014 on the bottom. The colored sheet is just basically the reference for us to see what changed since 4/19. The detail Mike will have to go into.
Question is what hasn't changed since the last meeting. Right after, the next day after the meeting, I got this letter from Essex North Shore Agriculture and Technical School District, letting us know that our assessment went up from 62,766 to 101,178. It's a 61% increase over last year, or
Yeah.
$38,412. And then it was downhill ever after.
The reason being,
They gave practically the same reason that Whittier gave us, that the state legislature has changed the formula for which schools are charged. In addition to, with Whittier, that totaled 77,000 of the 100,000 increase, and then the other 27, or whatever the difference was, had to do with additional students. But this at Essex had no additional students, just the funding formula, and plus now we're considered out of district, so we even get to pay a higher rate.
Well, their funding formula must take into consideration their debt, I would imagine.
They're building a new school.
Yeah, they got a hole,
North Shore Tech and Essex Aggie.
yeah.
So, and this year, Essex used to be, Essex Aggie used to be on a cherry sheet charge, but it's not anymore. It's supposed to be in the school budget. So, the difference of that 18,588 is 57,000 we moved out for the retirement, and the 38,000 that was added. So the net change was negative. The net change was an additional,
Negative 18.
actually a negative 18,588. So that's why that's the reason for that change.
So then I have a question, Mike. Where's the, out of public safety? Did you reduce that line item? by the payout that we just voted on a special town meeting? Because that's not showing any difference.
I thought that got taken out earlier.
Not that I know of.
Okay, okay, we can look this up.
Isn't this fun?
16.
You have it right there.
Would it be under, it would be under wages?
Wages.
897, 147, according to this, under total wages. Not counting communications. 1,508.
In FY15, it's got 1,439 over here.
Yeah, we changed it. I remember last time because when we were doing this, when Chief Cudmore was here.
I see, yeah, I have an older one, 1567, is that?
Okay. On the back page, he's got 25,650 listed twice.
Yeah. And right here, if you get up on the screen, this is from the last meeting.
Yeah.
It was, 2280 was being added, and I can't find my notes on that. When Chief was talking, we added 2280, and then we added 25,650. Don't worry, I know Chief is watching at home, don't worry, we'll find it, don't worry.
I can see him running down the driveway.
I still can't get his car.
I think he's in Boston.
Oh, is he?
Oh, that's right, he is in Boston.
Oh, he's coming through Chelsea right about now.
No, he had it with him, because I remember it being 1508. I remember. Where's place?
And that's with that money out, you're saying?
Yeah, because originally it was 15,567.
Yeah, that's what I have, 15,567. But something else must have changed in there.
Well, you got 50. He's got 1508, 750.
Yeah,
Same
yeah.
as you, right there.
Yeah, yeah.
On your summary sheet, you got it too.
Right. Yes. The summary sheet says 1508.
Right, and that's, I can't find my notes from last time, and so we must have taken it out.
Oh,
No, but
and
see,
you got the 25. What's okay? In the next, where's the 15 that come from? Is it pulling from somewhere else?
no, I know, this is, we added back in the 25,650.
I like
The-
the 1508 572 and see where that comes from.
Right, that's right there.
Oh, all right.
So, it was the 25,650 is for the officer he has to put on, right? The officer he has to put on
Send him to the academy.
to send him to the academy, that has to be
Oh, that's
on in
right.
the meantime, that's kind of filling in for the other retiree, that lapse. The 2280 is for something else. We removed the 25,650 from the school resource officer. It's just what I don't think I put in this number, Mike, I don't think I put in the minus 21. Because when I did this bottom line to balance this out is There's this 166, I forget what that was for, the 57, the 3107, which was capital, the 26, 100.
That's the retirement.
Right, I took it out of the bottom line. I didn't take it out of the individual. This is the last one we have, so that was 13,697. Hold on. So we just have to double check on that. 1508 and this is coming from U52. It's coming from U252. That's U252. Oh, I'm sorry, this is coming from U252, my apologies, which is the new added up here. I did not remove, so we just found ourselves money, and no, nobody can have it.
Selectmen's expense account would be nice.
Oh, right after we get our own expense account. I believe, Mike, we'll have to double check. I believe that, because right here on the summary page, I had, this is all the things that were added up on the top. Then we took out the 166, which you,
That was the CPC debt service.
right, 57 for the
School
schools,
retirement.
3107 for the CIP, 26-1
and
for
70
the police,
Yeah, 71 suits.
which we were moving into, that was the extra that we were gonna move, reserve
for-
fund, right.
for-
So I took that out of the bottom line,
Oh,
okay?
okay.
So, which means that, yep, I wanna go back here, budget summary, which was 27018, which was all these numbers right up here, everybody, those numbers that were added in. So I don't think they got removed from the actual individual line items. But that's okay. You laughing at Phil? Yeah, that's what I mean, it's better going that way.
How much?
Did everybody
other way
understand?
did we go?
Huh?
How much the other way did we go?
26,100.
Plus 57,000. Both. Neither one of those were reduced from the individual line items.
So 70,
83.
Who's the fifth?
No, I moved it out of the
School?
school.
You did move it out of the school,
Yeah.
okay, so the 26,100 did not get moved out of.
That would have been nice.
Yeah, bummer.
Yeah.
Alright, so the 26,100 did not get moved out of the individual line item. So the police budget needs to be reduced by 26,100.
he's past Chelsea by now.
He's not really losing anything.
He's not losing anything.
Yeah, yeah.
And we're still gonna vote it in the budget, and I think, Mike, what we need to do is you need to put the reduce the police line item by 26,100 and increase reserve fund by 26,100.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So we're gonna reduce, but please double check on that.
Oh, I will.
Yeah.
Sure, Don will be in my office in the morning. First thing, I better get here on time.
You'll be pacing the parking lot.
No, because I remember that was there was a 1508572 that he needed to make sure that he got funded for. And that came from over here, which was the 1508572. Oops, wrong spreadsheet. Which was his budget, and then the other items that weren't added in before, that we needed to make sure we added in. But please double check with Dawn, and we're gonna vote on the bottom line of the budget anyway, so. Okay. Increase. So there's that.
Okay.
Now, so we've got, general government went up 129,000, Mike?
Yeah, that was, the difference in the increase in the energy costs. We had a 10% increase in the, 10% increase in electricity, 15% increase, and I got all this last week, so that's why it wasn't in the budget. Another 15% increase in gas prices.
Natural gas?
Yes. And then the balance was, if you remember, we had to take $50,000 out of the reserve fund because the gas was, well, number one, underfunded, and number two, really cold year. So originally, I was going to put, you know, the two increases, which, and an additional 50,000, which is what we actually were short this year. This basically was my fudge item to balance. So there was, I didn't put in $30,000, knowing that, and I just spoke with Jay, we have an additional $31,000 coming to us in the fall from the overlay surplus account.
Okay.
So if we're short in the energy costs again, we can rely on that to plug the gap.
Okay.
The public works facilities and the human services, those were the salary requests that were taking out and not put, and they got put back in.
Are those from settled contracts?
No, that was the request, that's Council on Aging for the 54th, 23,
Okay.
wasn't in it initially, and I neglected to add it back in.
Okay.
Same thing with Public Works, that's part of the part-time person Peter was requesting.
That were, who was requesting a full-time?
Well, he requested a full-time person for 40,000, but he also requested summer help.
Oh, the summer help.
Right,
Additional $7,000.
Right.
So that, because it wasn't a level service budget, I took it out in the beginning.
Okay.
And I neglected to put it back in.
Okay. Okay. Debt service went down 180?
Yes, that, there were a couple moving things in there, and they're all over the place. Let me just do local revenue first. Went back to the books, so to speak, and talking with the assessing department, they felt I'd already bumped that up 50,000, and they felt it could stand another 50, because we've already collected, as of now, what we anticipated collecting for the full year. So we're expecting, we've been running, it's been increasing regularly for the last couple of years, mostly due to the excise tax. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay.
So I took an extra 25,000 on the excise tax and local revenue, and under the local revenue, we reviewed the light department's contribution to
Yeah, I saw that go up.
indirect costs or direct costs, depends on how you look at it. The health insurance went up because they changed from the 60/40 to the 7/30. We didn't take it, we didn't budget that last year, although they paid for it because we billed them for the actual amount, but it wasn't budgeted.
Okay.
And we also included a shared employee charge, which we haven't done in the past. We charge the we charge the water department 5% of the administrative wages. Comes out to 22,000 and change. And I sent an email to Dave Schofield that, you know, to expect an increase in the in that total line item. It was 450, now it's 450,000, now it's 509.
Okay.
So that's where the increase in local revenues came from.
You got that, they have a lot of money, really.
Wayne never liked that.
Yeah, I'm not, you'll be hearing from the board.
Well, we can't.
It's a sore subject, don't
Yeah.
worry about it.
But now you're on this table.
That's right.
So we like it.
I don't like it.
Yeah, and then the, where are we? Oh, the taxes, there was a slight adjustment in the levy amount, so we actually had to
Oh,
decrease that, what we take in on taxes. So that adjusted the revenues down there, but we had an unexpected windfall when we went out to bond for the Pembroke. Got a premium, and it gets applied annually to buy down it's about a 1 million and change premium that comes back to us, and we're supposed to utilize it to buy down the interest payments over the life of the bond. And there was one interest payment that we anticipated having to pay, and we're not gonna have to pay it this fiscal year, in 15.
in 15.
It's not coming. So that's how the debt service got adjusted.
So that's why the debt service went down 180.
Yes.
Okay.
And I think, did I cover everything there? I think I did.
Wrong way. Okay, so overall, from what we voted on, it's, the bottom line has gone up 86,000. It's gone from 27,018,964 to 27,105,035. On your sheets, it says negative. I had the wrong formula. It's actually positive. Does anybody have any other questions for Mike on the budget? Besides the electrical department?
Well, you're gonna charge the fire department for their services too? They got an enterprise fund. They should be paying the same thing. It doesn't matter. Basically,
No,
all
they-
you gotta do is you gotta justify your cost. That will be their answer.
Mhm.
And you justify it, they'll pay the bill. But you have to justify the cost. That
Mary
was an
wouldn't-
argument
Mary
they
wouldn't
had.
let me do it without justifying it to her first.
Yeah.
She knows.
Oh, yeah.
Mary does very well. I'm not-
Does.
Yeah.
Very well.
Yeah.
But, you know,
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. 27105. Okay. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to reconsider ATM 03.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
I entertain a motion to recommend approval of ATM 1403 in the amount of $27,105,035.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carries. When are you finalizing the motion, Mike?
We hope to get something back tomorrow from legal.
Okay, the only,
More likely Monday.
all right, so we have the articles that are up here right now. These are the ones we have not voted on. If we want, these are the planning, accessory apartments and things like that.
Oh, those.
Yeah, if you want to, or do you guys, we can meet and vote them before town meeting, if you want. If you wanna get out
I
of
thought
here.
some of those are being passed over.
Do we have, which one's being passed? Do we have which one's being passed over now?
I can tell you what I took for notes.
Back up in the chair.
Come on down.
Okay, so where are you? Number,
32.
okay.
All right, let me highlight everything right here and. Tink. Okay,
Okay,
these guys.
that's me, my glasses. Okay, 32. I don't have 32 as being passed over.
The bylaw, that's the
The
bylaw
new-
amendment.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Bylaw amendment, I don't have that listed as being passed over.
Which-
No, hold on here.
30, no, not Article 32, we're going by tracking numbers. ATM
ATM
32?
32? Okay.
Okay,
That would be
So
the
where is that?
accessory apartments.
okay, so, that is a passover.
That is being passed over?
Yep, that's Article 34.
Okay.
Article 35 is a passover.
No, what's the ATM number?
Oh, sorry. ATM 14-35.
35, passing over, okay. Very easy.
Let me just see here. There was discussion. Okay, so ATM 1433. The one that has all the different definitions. They were gonna get back to Beverly. They were leaning toward passing over. Just not dealing with that. But that's a get back to Beverly.
Okay,
And I believe that was also true for ATM 14-34, Article 38.
okay.
That was all I have on my list.
What about marijuana dispensary?
Oh, what did we discuss about that? Marijuana dispensary. Remind me what that.
I can't remember, he's getting old.
Yeah, it was my understanding that that's gonna go forward for discussion. Actually, actually, that isn't a passover, because I remember asking, was their prediction if it was gonna pass or not? So I don't believe we would've had that conversation if it was a passover. So I believe it is.
Okay, so, Mike, what town meeting's at 7?
Yes.
Do we anticipate any other things that we're going? Monday.
Next Monday, yeah.
Oh, I hope not.
What time, do we wanna
Selectmen are
meet?
scheduled to meet at 5.
You're meeting at 5?
They haven't taken any votes yet.
Final votes on the articles.
For recommendations? Okay. do we wanna meet at 5:30?
What do we have to vote on?
If we wanna vote on the marijuana one or any other stuff, and
Okay.
if we want to, or we can just meet, it doesn't matter, that's why I'm asking the pleasure of the board. What,
Well, if
Well,
we-
if you only have that to vote on, I
Yeah.
don't know if we have to vote at 5:30.
yeah, why do we have to do that at 5:30?
that's what I was asking, anything coming up? No?
Like I said, I hope not. I'm
Six
not
would-
anticipating anything, but
We can do 6.
6, yeah, 6 is good.
I say
Leave a half
6:45.
hour built in for people.
No,
No,
it
we
takes
gotta
it
be
takes a
there
while
early.
for us, because if we go too late, then we end up having to wait in line to get registered to get in.
Oh.
To get, that's one of the,
I'll follow the crowd. 6:15 it is.
Well, I mean, if that's all that we're gonna consider, why can't we
Six.
consider it now?
Six.
I mean,
Six, whatever.
do we can, that's what I'm saying, we can do it now, do we wanna take a,
You know,
We'll
what,
do it now?
we
Okay.
can do it
you
now?
know,
That's fine, it doesn't matter to me. I'm not watching hockey. Okay, so it is,
None of you are.
that's right. We need to bring another TV in over there for during playoffs. Okay, so it's on page 24 of the 4-2 warrant. Registered marijuana dispensary. We don't really have a choice in this. We have to have a vote on this, correct? The town has to come up with
A bylaw.
a bylaw for it anyway.
The town doesn't have to give the option.
Want to. You would like
And
to.
it does make good sense unless you want one next to your house, which maybe you do.
Oh, if we don't have a bylaw, then,
They can put it,
Anywhere they want.
oh,
pretty much anywhere.
But
Yeah,
that,
this bylaw is tightening up what the state law already is.
what's the article?
Article ATM 14-37 is on page 24 of 34.
Well then.
Do we want to have any discussion, or is everybody ready to vote?
So this is just to put a bylaw in.
Yeah,
This is to put the bylaw in so that we have more say
Okay.
on what this, because if we don't have this in, then they can follow the state rule, and if we don't like what some of the state rule says, or if we think it's too lenient, we don't have a choice,
Okay.
so.
this is on a town warrant. I got the wrong one?
What's the date on the bottom left-hand side, Reg?
3/19.
You get the really, really old one.
Really old.
Wow.
Okay,
So Red, you wanna read mine?
well, I just tried to follow along here. Okay.
So it's to see if the town will vote to amend the zoning bylaw by inserting article, I'm not good with Roman numbers, registered marijuana dispensary. The purpose of bylaw is to provide zoning bylaw standards for a medical marijuana treatment center. A medical marijuana treatment center is a nonprofit entity as defined by mass law only, registered with the Department of Public Health, that acquires, cultivates, possesses, processes, including development of related products such as food, tinctures, aerosols, oils, or ointments, transfers, transports, sells, distributes, dispenses, or administers marijuana products containing marijuana, related supplies, or educational materials to qualifying patients or their caregivers. So this is, so all of these changes in here are changes to the zoning bylaw, according to our zoning bylaws, correct? Okay. Has the selectman had an opinion on this yet?
not formally.
What's the selectman been leaning towards?
I won't speak for the board, I think the spirit was that we certainly wanted to put a bylaw together to cover that.
And I guess the question is if somebody doesn't think that this is tight enough, we can adjust it again at another town meeting?
Yeah, let's just start with, some ground rules here, so.
Okay.
That looks pretty extensive, actually.
Yeah.
We didn't come up with that language, we're not.
Yeah.
Who came up with that?
State.
State?
But
well, actually, they were trying to get it ready for fall town meeting, and we never had one.
Oh.
So, it went back to K&P, our legal counsel, and the partner at K&P who moved on to be the deputy director of marijuana for the state wrote the bylaw. So it's gotten thorough legal review.
Okay.
So any of these changes, such as on here in eligible locations, is that from the state or is that from us upping?
It's from us.
us
tightening,
tightening it in so that you can't be within 300 linear feet of any of these particular facilities. Okay. Video arcade, we don't even have a video arcade facility, do we?
Probably not.
Do we have any video game, oh,
No, amusements and bars and
amusements,
things.
okay. All right, entertain a motion to recommend approval of ATM 14-37 registered marijuana dispensary,
So moved.
Second for purpose of discussion.
okay? Further discussion?
Yeah, I just, number one, I'm not a big fan of the marijuana clinics. I don't think a town this size needs one. And I wouldn't vote to approve it.
Do we still have the ability to disapprove if someone comes
Yeah,
in? No?
We can't.
We
keep
can't.
it out.
We, as long as they fit within our bylaws, our codes of zoning, we cannot deny a permit for someone to
Okay.
come in here. But I think that our board is in the same agreement that we would prefer not.
Certainly not. Don't want to have one.
So this is,
Just put one in Haverhill if that continues, if they don't take it
Yeah.
away because of all the corruption at the state level. But if they got one in Haverhill, they don't need one here.
Well, Reggie, I think, you know, most of us are in agreement. We come up with our own bylaws. Who's to say we come up with the most, you know, ridiculous bylaws possible so that they technically can come in?
Because by law, you can't
state.
deny them.
No, we're not denying it.
No,
We
you
have
can't
bylaws.
make-
Yeah, but I think the
Bylaw
state
that
looks at
is
them
so-
and,
Yeah, but
and
you
makes
can't-
sure
you
that
can't
they're
go
not
big.
ridiculous.
You know?
That-
You can't go
that
way
they don't
through
go
So
to that
there is
length.
someone looking at it
restrictions.
to say, all right, you know, you can't go
But the
through
Attorney
this.
General generally looks all of these over, I think,
and I,
after we
and I
vote
think
on.
what's on here on page 27, when you put the eligible locations, it really limits now as to where something like this can go, because it can't go within 300 feet of this list of 14 locations, any residential district, school, childcare, library, you know, so now you start,
This bylaw tightens up even more restrictive than what the state law is right now.
so it really does limit, it can't stop them from coming in, but it could limit them down to, okay, you get like these couple of parcels that,
I was gonna say, have we figured out what locations they can, where are they looking at? That there could be someone coming in.
I would have to go back to my.
All right, no
It's
problem.
like-
I'm just
it's
kinda
like
curious.
mirroring the adult entertainment
I was
zone.
gonna say, is it,
Yeah,
would it go
same
down to the drive-in?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah,
you know, or out in, you know.
right, out on the other side of 95, basically.
Which is where they intended to do anyhow. Someone actually did approach the town and was looking at property to do that. So I mean, they're not that naive to know that towns like this are not going to be very favorable of having. There's a dispensary and there's actually a farm, right? So you can cultivate in one area of town and you can dispense in the other, or you can do it in the same location. So it's a little, you know, there's some nuances to it, put it that way.
Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Okay. All right, so, we'll meet at 6:15. Post our meetings, we're gonna post it for 6, just for sake of purposing, and we'll meet around 6:15.
Okay.
All right, we're on Monday night.
Where do we meet, by the way? This is my
In the high school, in the teacher's lounge. I think, did Janet already book us?
I believe so.
I think she already booked us,
You go
so.
in the front door, you
Yeah.
take a left, go all the way down the end of that aisle, right, left again, and it's down on the left. Just
Yeah.
go.
Just follow the smell of pizza, I'll be bringing pizza. Usually have
You'll
pizza.
hear us.
So front door, left down the corridor.
At the
And
end, take a
because,
right, then
because
a
we
quick
wwaxed
left
your heat
again,
pumps, you
and
can
it's
come
down
have
there.
pizza with us.
Can I, do you want some information from Mike about this heat pump
Okay,
thing?
oh, sure.
So I texted him and said that, you know, we're discussing this, and I said, what's the issue if this happens? And he said, I think we can be fine if we can do it next year. He said it's just an expensive Band-Aid, because every time one goes,
Right.
you know, it's $5,000. But we can make it work as long as we can do it before the new roof.
Before
So
the-
then I said, okay, you know, so it would be done around the same time, and are they connected? And he said, yes, all the fittings run through the roof. So you would be, if you would wanna put the AC units in first, or you would be cutting 35 holes in the new roof. Hopefully we can do them first. So.
And that may be something we approve.
So that we just have
Makes sense to me, but that's
make that
up to me.
logistically, because I
Excuse
talked
me.
about, you know, what if we did, would the roof
You-
happen in the summer? You know, if it got approved at the spring town meeting, could you do
We'll
it
talk-
before
we'll
the
talk about
roof
it then.
started?
Plus
You
if
just
you're
don't,
not
you
messing
don't wanna
with
put
that,
the roof in and then.
Might
the-
ruin the,
Okay, if you can
guarantee
get with the
on it.
architects or
Yeah.
whatever, and the, the
Excuse
project
me.
manager.
Yes, Red, what are you asking?
Is she saying that you put the roof in after you put the vents in?
Yes.
No.
Mike, it's Mike.
What-
Mike
what's
Anderson.
Mike Anderson, and what he's saying is, you wanna put the units in before you do the roof. Because the fittings go under the roof apparently, so you don't wanna put the roof down.
And then cut into the roof.
The roof up to put the new.
So they're self-standing,
To the plywood.
basically?
Yeah, they
Well,
stand
yeah.
back.
So basically, you're
They
gonna rip them out,
probably
put
should
them
be
in,
done
and
around
then
the same
Timing
time.
issue.
it's around the same.
All right,
We'll check.
I
it.
don't
Well,
get
yeah.
that
If
one.
it is the same.
And that's what we gotta find out.
What are we gonna do with this thing?
Right, so if we didn't, if we asked
Huh?
no
Burn
one to do roof would go on, we'd have to get with the.
Mike,
I
have
don't
it.
know.
You're gonna take it? It's
I
yours.
think it's important for him to
Can
come
they get us the
before
big
us and
print?
kind of talk about that.
Okay,
Nick
if
has a
nothing
bunch of
else, we'll be
questions for
meeting, town meeting beforehand, we'll have our, meeting 6 o'clock. Entertain a motion to
So
adjourn.
moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you for joining us. We'll see you at town meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What time are we meeting?